Hi, this is just a brief tutorial on how to use your graphing calculator to solve equations. So the first equation you see on the screen is 2x plus 1 equals 5. And this is actually a really easy equation for us to solve using our algebra skills. We obviously would subtract 1 and divide by 2, and we know that x would equal 2. But let's just talk about how we could solve this problem using our graphing calculator. So if you have your graphing calculator, you're going to turn on, you're going to push your y equals button. You want to make sure that none of the plots are dark or highlighted at the top. So you want your screen to look something similar to this. And then you want to plug in the left side of your equation into y1. And you want to plug in the left side of your equation into y2. So y1 was 2x plus 1. Y2 then is 5. Then to make sure that we're graphing, we're going to hit zoom, and we want to graph in the standard window to begin with. The standard window is zoom, and it's number 6 where it says standard. This is going to make our window a 10 by 10, or a negative 10 to positive 10, and negative 10 to positive 10 in the y direction. So here is our graph, 2x plus 1. And then our 5 we should know to be a horizontal line, so the red line on mine is a horizontal line. And if we want to know where do they equal, we just want to know where do they intersect. And so to find that, again, we're going to do second, trace, and we've been in this menu earlier in the year, but again, we are going all the way down to number 5, and that is intersect. And now when we read our calculator screen, the bottom of our screen says first curve. We look at the top. Yes, that says y1, so you press enter. Now the question at the bottom of our screen says second curve. You look at the top, it says y2, and you push enter. And now the bottom of the screen says guess, and it basically wants you to use your arrow buttons to get fairly close to your intersection point. Again, you don't have to be really close. You just have to be close to that intersection point, and then you push enter. And again, it tells us that if x was 2 in this equation, then yes, it would equal 5. So that's a way that we can use our calculator to solve equations. The next example we're going to look at is solving a rational equation, because that's what we were working with in our previous chapter. So here's a rational equation, and we're going to do the same process using our graphing calculator. So we go to y equals, we clear out our y1 and our y2. In y1, we want to enter the left-hand side. Now it's a fraction, and I recommend doing 3 divided by, and then again, notice the parentheses that I'm using. I want to use parentheses because I want to make sure that my calculator is doing the correct order of operations. So I want 3 divided by all of this. I want that to be a fraction, which is why they're parentheses, and then I want to add 6 after the fraction. And then my y2 is 25. So again, please note how we use parentheses so that our calculator is doing the order of operations that we want. Once we've entered those in, we hit zoom. Again, we will go down to number 6. We want that standard window, 10, negative 10 to positive 10, negative 10 to positive 10. And we see a line starting, or a graph starting to form. Notice that my yellow is stopped spinning, so it stopped thinking. And this is what I see. And now here's where the last chapter comes into play. When I looked at this rational equation, I should know that there is going to be a vertical asymptote at positive 11, x being 11. So I'm actually going to adjust my window to start to see that. So I'm going to go to my window. I know that at x being 11, I'm going to have a vertical asymptote. So I'm going to pick a number that is larger than 11. Let's just say 15. You can pick any number larger than 11. It just has to be bigger than 11. And then I'm going to hit graph. And now I should see a vertical asymptote start to form. It starts to look rational. Okay, so now I've graphed my rational piece. I see my horizontal asymptote starting to happen at 6. However, I don't see 25 being graphed. Again, 25 should be a horizontal line, and that is a y if it's a horizontal line. And so we're going to go back to our window, And we need to increase our y max to make sure that we can see 25. So once again, you're going to pick a number that's greater than 25. I'm going to pick 30 because that's greater than 25. You can pick any number you want that's greater than 25. Then hit graph. You'll see that same blue rational equation show up. And now you see a horizontal line at 25. Now we want to know what x value can we plug in to make this equation equal 25. So here's where we go to second, we go to trace, we go down to number 5, the intersection, and again it asks you that question, first curve. Because there is a vertical asymptote, you need to use your right arrow button to get over the vertical asymptote. Otherwise, your calculator is going to give you an error. So you just hold down your right arrow button. Notice my cursor is following the blue line. I don't see it. I'm going to still keep clicking, and then it appears again. So I want my first curve to be on the blue part that's crossing my horizontal line. And then I'm going to push enter because that's the first curve that I want. Now it asks me that second curve. This is y2. And yes, that's the curve I want. So I push enter. And now it says guess, and my cursor's actually really close based on where I had it, and I push enter again. And after my calculator thinks, it may give you this error that says no sign change. Again, that's if you haven't crossed your vertical or your horizontal asymptote. Now, I didn't cross my horizontal asymptote very well, so I may need to try that again. So second, trace. Again, I'm going down to number 5, intersect. My first curve, again, I want to be right over here, so I'm going to push enter. My second curve, I'm going to push enter. And the reason it didn't like me was because I went too far on my red line. It crossed over my vertical asymptote. So I want to make sure that it's on the red line on the right side of my vertical asymptote. And now it tells me my solution. If x is 11.156895, and the decimal places keep going on and on forever, then this equation will equal 25. So again, the key piece to this is in y equals, we're graphing the right side as y1, the left side as y2. We may need to change our window to make sure that we see that horizontal line and our rational graphs. And then we're using second trace, and we're using that intersection button, number 5, to help us answer our questions. This is going to be very helpful as we continue on in our next unit of study. And so if you have questions with your calculator or you're getting errors, please make sure that you come in and see either one of your teachers. Thank you.